Welcome to Have History Will Travel, and because of the popularity of the last video I did concerning moments the move at Gettysburg should have included, I decided to make another film highlighting another moment. With few exceptions, the dialogue concentrates solely between officers, mainly generals. Harrison the Scout is the biggest exception to this rule, and the constant conversations between Chamberlain and his troops. That being said, the movie could have added a whole new dimension to it by including the rank and file and what they were thinking and doing. This happens a little at Little Round Top, but that is pretty much the only location this happens on a personal level. I want to talk about Pickett's charge on the third day. We see a great and epic scene where the North Carolinians and Virginians march across the mile-long field and attack the stone wall at Cemetery Ridge. However, the interaction we see is between commanders. Across the stone wall awaiting the Confederate attack was a Union soldier with a unique perspective about the charge. One can find multiple accounts of this during Pickett's charge, but Sergeant Benjamin Hurst's story sticks out to me as odd yet fascinating. First, some background. Hurst enlisted in Company D of the 14th Connecticut Infantry, 2nd Brigade, 3rd Division, 2nd Corps under Winfield Scott Hancock. His unit had been involved at Fredericksburg and Chancellorsville. At this point, Hurst was a veteran of some of the bloodiest battles of the Civil War. The 14th was part of the ill-fated attack on Mary's Heights at Fredericksburg. Hurst first describes him being deployed as a skirmisher on the third day. I was sent with 10 men to relieve some other ones further to the front. I felt a little timid about walking erect, with the ball whizzing about my ears from the rebel sharpshooters. But I made it out to the post with the men. I found one of the men I was supposed to relieve dead at his post. He was shot through the head, and from his position he seemed to be taking aim at a rebel. I did not know he was dead until I put my hand on his shoulder and spoke to him, and we were soon popping away as lively as crickets. I will here tell you one incident which goes to show how we soon get insensible to danger. My gun becoming foul, I got a ball stuck in the barrel so that I could not get it home or take it out. In this dilemma, I placed it before me with the butt resting against the fence rail, and with my shoestring I pulled the trigger, fully expecting it to burst. But it came out all right, and I was soon firing away again. Hurst sat on the stone wall just north of the angle as the Confederate artillery barrage started. He stated, "About noon commenced the fiercest cannonading ever heard. The shot and shell came from front and right and left. It makes my blood tingle in my veins now. To think of never before did I hear such roar of artillery." To add to all this was our own batteries in full blaze, every shot from which seemed to pass over our heads. It was a terrible situation to be in between those two fires. How we did hug the ground expecting every moment was to be our last, and as the first one of us got hit, and then another, to hear their cries was awful. And still you dare not move either hand or foot. To do so was death. Once the artillery stopped, the men from Connecticut faced another trial. But what means that shout of derision in our front? Up men, the rebels are upon us. There they come, a cloud of skirmishers in front, with 1, 2, 3 lines of battle stretched all along our front. With their banners flying, the men carrying their pieces at trail arms. It was a glorious sight to see, rebels though they were. They seemed to me to march as though on parade, and were confident of carrying all before them. But away up that mountain slope in our rear we knew that biding their time, as gallant a body of men as ever rebels could dare to be were awaiting for them. Yes, behind that long, low stone wall is our own glorious 2nd Corps, so soon to immortalize themselves by hurling back that rebellious crew who brought their polluting footsteps to our own dear North. "Steady, men, and rally on the reserves," cries our leader. As we take to our feet, we are driven in, but not in confusion. Sometimes we about face and return their skirmishers' fire. But still we fall back upon the hill, and over the wall, bringing our wounded with us. And now we have a short breathing spell. One is looking at the far-off home he will never see again. Another one is looking at his little ones, and he mechanically empties his cartridge box before him, determined to part this life as dearly as possible. Other ones you can see are communing with him, before whom so many of us will have to shortly appear. We must hold this line to the last man. The fate of the whole army now rests with you. Don't fire until you get the order, and then fire low and sure." It is the clear voice of General Gibbon as he rides along the line and gives word of cheer to each regiment as he goes along. A few more words from General Hayes and our own gallant Colonel Ellis, and there runs along the line, ready, up with our flags. Aim! Fire! And time it was too, for the rebels seemed to be within 150 yards of us. We could hear their officers pressing them on to charge. Fire! 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 Fire all along the line. There opened up upon them such a storm of bullets, oath and imprecations, as fully satisfied them we had met before, under circumstances a little more favorable to them. Now we've got you. Sock it to the blasted rebels. Hurrah! Hurrah! The first line is broken. Never mind who is hit, and soon the second line is sent howling back after the first one. Right oblique fire. Left oblique fire. And the supporting columns are thrown in disorder and soon seek safety in flight. This is one man's account. I will also upload another video soon recounting a Confederate experience during Pickett's charge. But reading stories like these makes one realize that each one was a son, father, brother, uncle, or cousin to someone at home. Thank you, and please leave a comment if you are in favor or not about including more individual stories in Civil War movies, or maybe you like the top-down approach, and that's okay, because you can't include everything in a movie, but a holistic perspective is also appreciated by me.